Hello. Welcome back to Scriptural Analysis, the Law of the Covenant. This is Video 3, Part 12, the Abrahamic Covenant, Summary C2. The purpose of this video is to begin to point out a pattern the authors used when writing within their own timeline, a pattern that often included prophecy regarding both their own day and end times. Also, this video will introduce an inclusive literary construct that the reader should always try to identify within either the characters or the societies presented within the story, because hidden within the story is a great pattern identifying humanity, which is clearly discussed metaphorically by the later author Isaiah, and which we will examine in later videos. For now, let's begin with an often missed allegory regarding the holistic aspect of this written work. This allegory provides an end-time pathway for God's covenant people, a pathway that exemplifies a type of situation that will be repeated for them during end times, so as to assist them in understanding how to access divine protection for that time. Is this pathway really portrayed in the author's account of Abraham? Let's find out. Question: is there an end-time allegory in the story of Abraham? Answer: yes, there is, but the authors do not tell you about it directly. The reader has to first know what God's end-time servant is going to do. How is he qualified to do it? And why he will do it the way he will? And then the reader will see that Abraham does the very same thing. Most authors in this book provided prophecy which covered both the days in which they lived, defined as classical prophecy, and concerning end times of the earth's systems, defined as apocalyptical prophecy. The writings concerning Abraham seemingly do not fit this style of writing. As such, it would be easy for the reader to miss the subtle allegory provided, but provided it certainly is. For example, when Abraham left the city of Ur to travel to the Promised Land, both he and those that chose to follow him were leaving behind an area about to be devastated by covenant curses. Famine, a type of covenant curse, was about to destroy many living creatures and a whole lot of idolatrous people in the city of Ur. Abraham, however, being obedient to Jehovah's counsel, would journey with his small percentage of followers, guiding them to a promised land, away from an idol-consumed society that had forgotten God and his laws, instead increasing their level of carnal activities and being consumed with a doomed strategy of materialistic economics, which was viewed by them as that which was most important. In this literary image, Abraham serves as a type of end-time servant who will take a small percentage of righteous followers to the Promised Land, saving them from a cursed condition about to occur in their idolatrous land. As such, Abraham and the end-time servant act as savior types to those who follow them, as they follow Jehovah, securing righteousness in a land of promised inheritance for them, and for the generational descendants that follow. In end times, this land is called Zion, and God protects this place, while all other areas of the earth are experiencing chaos. So, although this written history does not actually lead the reader in a line-upon-line apocalyptical prophecy, the authors do provide a descriptive apocalyptical allegory when one searches the writings, detailing very well the end-time characteristics of Jehovah's end-time servant, as this servant will also do the things that Abraham did for himself and others, in leading them away from the false systems developed by humanity into a promised land where Jehovah will secure their millennium opportunity through P cubed plus 1. And, also like Abraham, this end-time servant is commanded of by Jehovah, a level earned because of this servant's determination and loyalty in explicitly following the terms of the covenant. This characteristic of the end-time servant will provide the opportunity for great miracles to take place, ensuring the covenant people at that time will be successful in attending to the servant's instruction. Divine protection will play a critical role for that time. As you now know, such protection can only come to those who live within the terms of the law of the covenant. This is the way the authors have taught and demonstrated over and over in their writings for the past. And this is the way that the authors educate the end-time covenant people for preparing for the events of the future, because their literary pattern shows that what God has done in the past, He will also do in the future in like manner. So there you have it. Abraham's adventures clearly show a pattern that can educate end-time covenant people, as Abraham also lived in a parallel time where he faced many similarities that exist as distractors today. Yet both he and his converted followers received the blessings of P cubed plus 1, because no matter what life brought their way, all proved loyal and faithful to the terms of Jehovah's law of the covenant. There are many, many more literary gems we could discuss when dealing with Abraham's history, but our focus is to define the law of the covenant as it exists through the author's writings. And to do that, we must leave this timeline and move forward, following the birthright blessings of the chosen covenant bearers, to understand how God governs humanity and best cares for all people through His administrative efforts according to the authors. A study I think you will thoroughly enjoy, because as these people grow in number, Jehovah can no longer provide the same governance to the covenant promises as He has done to date with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. No, Jehovah is going to have to implement additional administrative actions to secure the promise of P cubed on the future lineage of Abraham. How do you think Jehovah will manage to maintain the Abrahamic covenant terms and promises as time moves forward and the population expands? Stay tuned, because we are about to find out. But before we leave this timeline, a look at some of the characters described in it is definitely in order. When reading these works, always pay attention to the characters defined by the authors. It is in this way that the authors are pointing out to you the different types of people being defined as groups that you will encounter while you live on this earth. By analyzing these types of people or groups, you will better be able to understand just what group you will desire to strive to be in. Hence the very reason for having covenant terms, so that you can get to the highest level possible. So let's list the characters from most correct in terms of covenant acceptance to least correct for living the covenant terms during this history of Abraham. In doing so, we have the following: Jehovah, the administrator of the covenant; angels, Jehovah's helpers in administering the covenant; Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob all saw Jehovah; Sarah, a faithful covenant holder. Lot and his family, believers in a creator God. Terah, citizens of Ur, Canaan, Philistine, who were followers of idols, who disregarded the covenant. And Nimrod, and the 5 kings from the east, those leaders who killed or enslaved covenant holders. 7 different levels of individuals. Is that important? You bet it is, and this importance will be further sought after in future videos. Just remember that these levels were defined by characters in the history, so we can see if a pattern develops throughout the timeline. I hope you will take it upon yourself to now further search the history of Abraham and seek to identify words and phrases that speak to you about God's governance. You will find great literary clues the authors left behind that explain to you much more than the simplistic child's story of adventure would have you believe. You can find more about Abraham's history in the Holy Bible, the Book of Jasher, and the Pearl of Great Price. These represent some of the sources used in these videos. But always remember, the covenant given to Abraham was equally given to his wife Sarah, a concept often forgot by some who claim a status of religious merit. We leave this timeline for now with a verse from another author who lived 1,300 years in the future from Abraham's day, whose name was Isaiah, in which an admonition from Jehovah is given for all people, an admonition that Jehovah would have Isaiah deliver to a people who, just like in Abraham's day, sought to disregard the covenant and were on the verge of covenant curses. Isaiah was called of Jehovah to encourage these people to stop their incorrect way of living and return, to come into the terms of the covenant. And this admonition reads, "Look unto Abraham your father, and unto Sarah that bare you, for I called him alone, and blessed him, and increased him," as found in Isaiah 51 verse 2, and explains that Abraham and Sarah were faithful covenant holders that the people should strive to be just like. And why would Jehovah counsel that for all time? Well, it could be because by analyzing the lives of these obedient two, all females and males will learn that they can inherit the same promises from God as Abraham and Sarah did. All they have to do is prove themselves just as loyal as Abraham and Sarah were. Simple, right? Thanks for tuning in. I hope the Video 3 series has taught you something valuable. I look forward to you joining me as we leave this series behind and follow the bearers of God's law of the covenant into the Video 4 series, where we will examine the governance of God as humanity progresses through the timeline of this literary work. Until next time, take care and contemplate these things.